The FAB Show, brought to you by Study Abroad Partner, Alpha Beta. Hospitality Partner, Bazeko Sekua. Furniture Partner, Rhino Land.
Namaste. तपाईहरुले हामीलाई हेर्दै हुनुहुन्छ द फ्याब शोमा ओन्ली अन हिमालय टेलिभिजन एन्ड अफ कोर्स युट्युबमा पनि अन्त किन हेर्ने आजको तपाईको गेस्ट होस्ट म लेक्स लिम्बु छु र मसँग मेरो को होस्ट हुनुहुन्छ डाक्टर समीमणि दीक्षित वेयर ब्याक अगेन
एब्सोल्युटली
पनि हामी सँगै आएका थियौं
हो नि
अनि आज शनिबार पनि
लेक्स आज एकदम इन्ट्रेस्टिङ र एकदम महत्त्वपूर्ण बिहानी पनि अब अहिले हामी बोल्दा बिहानी छ बेलुका तपाईहरु हेर्दा पछि तपाईको समाचार सुनिहाल्नुहुन्छ कि अहिले एकदमै परिवर्तनमा छौं राजनीतिक परिवर्तन छौं अब हिजो नै मन्त्रीमण्डल एक किसिमले सुरुवात भएको छ र पहिलो काम नै अब गृहले गरेको काम चाहिँ अहिले रमेश लेखक र केपी ओलीलाई पक्राउ गरिसकिएको छ अहिले बिहानको अवस्थामा र अब भरे बेलुकासम्म तपाईले हेर्नुसम्म के हुन्छ त्यो प्रकरण तपाईले थाहा पाइहाल्नुहुन्छ यो महत्त्वपूर्ण छ किनभने भाद्र त्यो 23 को काली लाग्दो दिन र रातमा जुन प्रोटेस्टरहरू प्रदर्शनकारीहरूमाथि बन्दुक चलाइयो मृत्यु गराइयो मारियो त्यसको कार्की आयोगको प्रतिवेदनले पनि उहाँमाथि कारबाही गर्नुपर्छ भनेको थियो र आज गरिएको छ त्यो चाहिँ एकदमै महत्त्वपूर्ण प्रकरण छ अहिले बिहान भर्खरैको
हजुर सो यो र्यापिडली अहिले हरेक 10-10 मिनेट चेन्जेस आइरहेको छ सो अहिलेको समयमा तपाईले हामीलाई सुनिराख्नु भएको छ होला तर डिपेन्डिङ अन यो कुन समयमा तपाईले आजको फ्याब शो हेर्नुहुन्छ त्यो समयमा अझै झन् धेरै परिवर्तन भइसक्या हुन्छ होला आशा छ यो सबै परिवर्तन यो सबै चेन्जेस राइट डाइरेक्सनको लागि जस्टिसको लागि हो र जुन रङ डुइङलाई चाहिँ राइट बनाउनको लागि अगाडि बढिरहेको छ सो इट्स एन इन्ट्रेस्टिङ टाइम हामीले हिजो नै कुरा गरेका थियौं तर अहिले यस्तो स्पीड टर्न अराउन्डमा हामीले यो देख्दाखेरि चाहिँ we're all looking at it and we have to be careful with our optimism as well. Absolutely. But hopefully this is for the greater good.
हो र जे गर्छु अलि एउटा हामी जे भन्छौं नि आत्तिएर र मात्तिएर काम गर्नु हुँदैन भन्छ हामी जे पनि आत्तिएर पनि गर्नु भएन मात्तिएर पनि गर्नु भएन हैन त्यो त एक धैर्य धारण गरेर सहनशील हिसाबले गर्नुपर्छ तर न्याय पाउनुपर्छ र जुन अस्तिको घटना भयो त्यसको चाहिँ नि सही किसिमले अब न्यायले बाटो लिने नै छ र त्यो भन्दा भन्दै अर्को एउटा कुरा भन्दिहाल्यो हामी गुरुलाई स्वागत गर्नु अगाडि अहिले परराष्ट्र मन्त्रालयले पनि एउटा निर्णय के छ नि 24 घण्टा मन्त्रालय खोल्ने किनभने हाम्रा पश्चिम एसियाका यानी कि खाडी मुलुकमा नेपालीहरू जो अड्किनु भएको छ उहाँलाई पनि सहयोग गर्नको लागि उहाँहरूको लागि उद्धार गर्नलाई पनि परराष्ट्र मन्त्रालय चाहिँ एकदम अग्रसर हुन्छ भनेर अहिलेको मन्त्री सुशील खनालजीले भन्नुभएको छ त्यो पनि स्वागतयोग्य छ
ग्रेट इनिसिएटिभ
हैन चाहिएको थियो नि
हजुर डेफिनेटली
र यति भन्दै अब हाम्रो कुराकानी गर्नेमा त धेरै कुरा गर्न सक्छौं तर एउटा कुरा के महत्त्वपूर्ण छ नि एउटा एकदम महत्त्वपूर्ण कुरा के हो नि काम अगाडि बढ्छ हाम्रो संसार अगाडि बढ्छ जीवन अगाडि बढ्छ र हाम्रो कार्यक्रम पनि अगाडि बढ्छ र नियमित रूपमा हाम्रो गुरु रेडी हुनुहुन्छ र गुरु पछि आज हामीसँग पाकिस्तानी एम्बेसडर पनि आउनु भएको छ उहाँसँग नेपाल पाकिस्तानको के भइरहेछ कसो कुरा गरौँ तर अहिले चाहिँ नि गुरु सुरेश चन्द्र रिजाललाई हामी स्वागत गर्छौं शोमा
ग्रह दृष्टिमा यहाँहरूलाई स्वागत छ ग्रह दृष्टिमा आजको दिन कस्तो रहनेछ भन्ने महत्त्वपूर्ण जानकारीका साथ उपस्थित भएको छु आजको दिन शनिबारको दिन परेको छ कुनै पनि महत्त्वपूर्ण कामहरूको थालनी गर्दै हुनुहुन्छ भने शनिदेवको आराधना गरेर कामहरूलाई थालनी गर्न सक्नुहुनेछ तिथिको हिसाबले पनि आज दशमी तिथिलाई शुभ मानिएको छ पूर्ण तिथि हुन् त्यसकारणले गर्दाखेरि पनि तिथिका कारणले गर्दाखेरि कुनै पनि कामहरूलाई रोक्नुपर्ने बार्नुपर्ने कुराहरू देखिएको छैन तिष्य नक्षत्र परेको छ जसलाई शुभ नक्षत्रका रूपमा पनि शास्त्रमा व्याख्या गरेको छ त्यसकारणले गर्दाखेरि नक्षत्र बार अनि त्यस्तै गरी तिथिका हिसाबले पनि आजको दिन बलियो मानिएको छ भने चन्द्रमा आज कर्कट राशिमा नै रहनेछन् कर्कट राशिमा चन्द्रमा रहँदै गर्दाखेरि मेषदेखि लिएर मीन राशि उनीहरूको लागि आजको दिन कस्तो रहनेछ सुरु गरौँ सबैभन्दा पहिले मेष राशि मेष राशि उनीहरूको लागि भने आजको दिन महत्त्वपूर्ण मानिएको छ। यात्राको योग परेको छ। यात्रा गर्दै हुनुहुन्छ, यात्रा गर्ने सोच बनाइरहनु भएको छ भने पनि परिवारसँग सँगै रहेर परिवारसँग एउटा धार्मिक यात्राको योग पनि परेको कारणले गर्दाखेरि पारिवारिक भ्रमणको योगमा तपाईँ निस्किनुभयो भने तपाईँको लागि दिन शुभ मानिएको छ। शनिदेवको आराधना गर्नु यदि तपाईँले पुग्नुभयो, गर्न तपाईँले सक्नुभयो भने सम्पूर्ण विघ्न बाधाहरू हटेर जानेछन्। नियमहरूलाई पालना गर्नुहोस्। दिन मेष राशिको लागि शुभ नै रहने देखिएको छ। अर्को रहेको छ वृष राशि। वृष राशि उनीहरूको लागि आज आय आर्जनका हिसाबले पनि महत्त्वपूर्ण मानिएको छ। लामो समयदेखि रोकिएका जति पनि कर्महरू छन् ती कर्मका बाटाहरू बिस्तारै खुल्दै जाने देखिएका छन् भने आफूले कुनै पनि व्यक्तिहरूसँग सहयोग लिँदै हुनुहुन्छ। सहयोगको यदि तपाईँले चाहना राख्नुभएको छ भने पनि सहयोग तपाईँले प्राप्त गर्न सक्नुहुनेछ। इष्टदेवको आराधना गर्नुहोस्। आज शनिबार शनिदेवको पनि स्मरण गर्नुहोस्। पक्कै पनि विघ्न बाधाहरू हटेर जाने देखिएका छन्। अर्को रहेको छ मिथुन राशि। त्यस्तै गरी अर्को रहेको छ मिथुन राशि। मिथुन राशि उनीहरूको लागि भने आज आफूले बोलेकै कारणले गर्दाखेरि केही मनमा अशान्तिहरू उत्पन्न हुन सक्ने ग्रहले सङ्केत देखाएका छन्। सकेसम्म कम बोल्नुहोस्। आफूले गर्न खोजेका कामहरूलाई अगाडि बढाउनुहोस्। बोलेर भन्दा पनि काम गरेर यदि अगाडि बढ्न सक्नुभयो भने सम्पूर्ण विघ्न बाधाहरू हटेर जानेछन्। खर्चको योग परेको छ। खर्चमा वृद्धि हुने देखिएको छ। त्यस कारणले गर्दाखेरि खर्च वृद्धिका हिसाबले पनि आजको दिन त्यति शुभ फलदायी रहन सक्ने देखिएका छैनन्। त्यस कारणले आज शनिबारको दिन सकेसम्म इष्टदेवको आराधना गरेर अगाडि बढ्न सकेको अवस्थामा मिथुन राशिको लागि दिन शुभ नै रहने देखिएको छ। अर्को रहेको छ कर्कट राशि। कर्कट राशि उनीहरूको लागि कुनै पनि त्यस्तो खाले ग्रहजन्य दोष देखा परेका छैनन्। सोचे अनुसारले मनले योजना गरे अनुसारले नै कामलाई अगाडि बढाउन सक्नुहुनेछ। धार्मिक योग परेको छ। धार्मिक योगमा पनि तपाईँले परिवारसँग सँगै रहेर धार्मिक भ्रमणको अवसरहरू प्राप्त गर्न सक्नुहुनेछ। नयाँ कामको थालनी गर्ने सोच बनाइरहनु भएको छ भने ती योजनाहरूलाई अगाडि बढाउनुहोस्। पक्कै पनि कर्कट राशिको लागि दिन शुभ रहने देखिएको छ। अर्को रहेको छ सिंह राशि। सिंह राशि उनीहरूको लागि भने आफूले जोगाएर बचाएर राखेको धन खर्च हुन सक्ने ग्रहले सङ्केत देखाएका छन्। त्यस कारणले गर्दाखेरि आफूले राखेको आफूले जम्मा गरेको धनहरूलाई तपाईँले विशेष खर्चबाट जोगाउनु पर्ने देखिएको छ। अनावश्यक खर्चहरूबाट तपाईँ जोगिनुभयो। यात्राहरूबाट तपाईँले केही सावधानी अपनाउनु भयो भने राम्रो भइ नै हाल्नेछ। योग परेको छ यात्राको। लामो यात्रा शिक्षा शैक्षिक क्षेत्रसँग सम्बन्धित कुनै पनि कामहरू गर्दै हुनुहुन्छ भने तपाईँको लागि आजको दिन शुभ नै रहने देखिएको छ। अर्को रहेको छ कन्या राशि। कन्या राशि उनीहरूको लागि आजको दिन शुभ मानेको छ। विघ्न बाधाहरू पर्न सक्ने ग्रहले सङ्केत देखाएका छैनन्। कुनै पनि कामहरू गर्दै हुनुहुन्छ त्यो कामहरूलाई तपाईँले योजना गरेर अगाडि बढ्ने सोच बनाइरहनु भएको छ भने तपाईँका योजनाहरू सफल भएर अगाडि बढ्ने ग्रहले सङ्केत देखाएका छन्। विघ्न बाधाहरू रहन सक्ने छैनन् आज दिनभरि नै। आज शनिबारको दिन शनिको आराधना गर्नुहोस्। पक्कै पनि आजको दिन शुभ भएर जाने देखिएको छ। अर्को रहेको छ तुला राशि। तुला राशि उनीहरूको लागि शुक्र ग्रहको दृष्टिले सुख सुविधामा वृद्धि गर्न सक्ने ग्रहले सङ्केत देखाएका छन्। लामो समयदेखि तपाईँ अप्ठ्यारोमा परिरहनु भएको थियो, तपाईँलाई असहज महसुस भइरहेको थियो भने आज शनिदेवको कारणले गर्दाखेरि शुक्रको दृष्टिको योग परेको कारणले गर्दाखेरि पनि सुख सुविधामा वृद्धि हुने देखिएको छ। नयाँ कामको थालनी नयाँ कामका हिसाबले पनि आजको दिन महत्त्वपूर्ण रहने देखिएको छ। कुनै पनि विघ्न बाधाहरू पर्न सक्ने देखिएका छैनन्। नियमहरूलाई पालना गर्नुहोस्। शनिदेवको आराधना गर्नुहोस्। पक्कै पनि आजको दिन तुला राशिको लागि शुभ नै रहने देखिएको छ। अर्को रहेको छ वृश्चिक राशि। वृश्चिक राशि उनीहरूको लागि भने सन्ततिको पक्षबाट खुसीको अनुभूति हुनेछ। शिक्षा शैक्षिक क्षेत्रका हिसाबले पनि आजको दिन महत्त्वपूर्ण मानिएको छ। कुनै पनि विघ्न बाधाहरू शैक्षिक क्षेत्रमा पर्न सक्ने देखिएका छैनन् भने लामो समयदेखि कुनै पनि कामहरू सुचारू गर्न सक्नुभएको छैन भने आज ती कामहरूलाई योजना गर्नुभयो भने कामहरू सुचारू हुने क्रममा अगाडि बढ्ने देखिएको छ। नियमहरूलाई पनि पालना गरौँ, शनिदेवको आराधना गरौँ। पक्कै पनि आज वृश्चिक राशिको लागि सोचे अनुसारले नै अगाडि बढ्न सक्ने ग्रहले सङ्केत देखाएका छन्। अर्को रहेको छ धनु राशि। धनु राशि उनीहरूको लागि पनि स्वास्थ्यमा अचानक समस्याहरू आउन सक्ने ग्रहले सङ्केत देखाएका छन्। विशेष सावधानी अपनाउनु पर्ने देखिएको छ। शनि महामृत्युञ्जयको पाठ गर्ने, शनिको आराधना गर्ने र विघ्न बाधाहरू नपरोस् भन्नको लागि महामृत्युञ्जयको जप गरेर आफ्नो कामलाई अगाडि बढाउन सकेको अवस्थामा भने पक्कै पनि विघ्न बाधाहरू हटेर जानेछन्। नियमहरूलाई पालना गर्नुभयो भने धनु राशिको लागि दिन शुभ नै रहने देखिएको छ। अर्को रहेको छ मकर राशि। मकर राशि उनीहरूको लागि आजको दिन सामान्य तरिकाले अगाडि बढ्ने देखिएको छ। रिलेसनको हिसाबमा अथवा सम्बन्धको हिसाबले हेर्ने हो भने पनि त्यति सुखद आजको दिन देखिएको छैन। सम्बन्धमा पनि त्यति राम्रो देखिएको छैन। त्यस कारणले गर्दाखेरि विशेष ध्यान पुर्याउनु पर्ने देखिएको छ। यात्राको योग परेको छ। यात्रा गर्दै हुनुहुन्छ भने पनि यात्रा तपाईँको लागि सुखद भएर जाने देखिएको छ। सामान्य माल सामानहरू छुट्ने, हराउने जस्ता योग परि नै रहने देखिएका कारणले गर्दाखेरि पनि शनिदेवको आराधना गरौँ, विघ्न बाधाहरू हटेर जानेछन्। अर्को रहेको छ कुम्भ राशि। त्यस्तै गरी अर्को रहेको छ कुम्भ राशि। कुम्भ राशि उनीहरूको लागि पनि आजको दिन महत्त्वपूर्ण मानिएको छ। हुन त माल सामानहरू हराउने, चोरी हुने जस्ता योगहरू पनि देखा परेका छन्। विशेष ध्यान पुर्याउनु पर्नेछ। आफूले गर्न खोजेका काम, आफूले योजना गरेका जति पनि कर्महरू छन् ती कर्महरूलाई गोप्य राखेर अगाडि बढ्नुभयो भने सम्पूर्ण कर्महरू सफल भएर जाने देखिएका छन्। अन्तिममा रहेको छ मीन राशि। मीन राशि उनीहरूको लागि पनि आज भाग्यको साथ पूर्ण रूपमा मिल्न सक्ने ग्रहले सङ्केत देखाएका छन्। शनिदेवको आराधना गर्नुपर्ने छ। शनिको 7.5 दशा मीन राशिलाई नै परेको छ। त्यस कारणले गर्दाखेरि कहीँ विघ्न बाधाहरू पर्न सक्ने ग्रहले सङ्केत देखाएका छन्। कुनै पनि कामहरू आफूले महत्त्वपूर्ण तरिकाले कामहरू गर्दै हुनुहुन्छ भने ती कामहरूलाई अगाडि बढाउनुहोस्। आजको दिन मीन राशिको लागि सोचे अनुसारले नै सफल भएर जाने देखिएको छ। मेषदेखि लिएर मीन राशि उनीहरूको लागि आजको दिन कस्तो रहनेछ यसको बारेमा महत्त्वपूर्ण जानकारी गराएँ। कार्यक्रममा अन्य महत्त्वपूर्ण विषयवस्तुहरू पनि छन्। कार्यक्रम हेर्दै गर्नुहोला।
फेरि पनि तपाईहरुलाई स्वागत छ। हेर्दै हुनुहुन्छ द FAB Show only on Himalaya television. Of course, अहिलेको समयमा हामी टिकटकमा पनि लाइभ गइरहेको छौं। So please give us a thumbs up. तपाईहरु आज शनिबारको दिन कस्तो भइरहेको छ, कहाँबाट हेरिराख्नु भएको छ, कमेन्टबाट अवश्य हामीलाई भनिदिनु होला। आज हामी हाम्रो गेस्टसँग चाहिँ we are stepping into the world of diplomacy. तर official statements मात्र नभएर हामी एउटा कन्भर्सेसन थ्रु चाहिँ दुईटा राष्ट्रको मित्रताको बारेमा अझै गहिरो तरिकाले बुझ्ने एउटा लक्ष्य लिएर आएका छौं। सो आई विल ह्यान्ड ओभर टु माई को होस्ट टु इन्ट्रोड्युस आवर गेस्ट।
एकदमै र आज लेक्स आज हामीसँग एकदम महत्त्वपूर्ण गेस्ट हुनुहुन्छ। लेक्सले भनिहाल्यो र आज हामीसँग पाकिस्तानी एम्बेसडर हुनुहुन्छ र उहाँको हामीले भन्नुभन्दा नि हामीले उहाँको बारेमा बनाएको एउटा इन्ट्रोडक्सन भिडियो छ। त्यो भिडियो एकचोटि उहाँको हेरौँ, त्यसपछि हामी उहाँसँग कुराकानी अगाडि लाग्नेछौँ। उहाँको इन्ट्रोडक्सन भिडियो हेरिहालौँ।
3.5 दशक लामो प्रशासनिक र कूटनीतिक अनुभव बोक्नु भएका व्यक्तित्व जो पाकिस्तानको ग्लोबल ई-भिसा प्रणालीका सूत्रधार र स्वच्छ जल कूटनीतिका अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय विज्ञ हुनुहुन्छ। अमेरिका, क्यानाडा र भारतमा महत्त्वपूर्ण जिम्मेवारी सम्हालिसक्नु भएका उहाँ अहिले नेपाल र पाकिस्तान बीचको सम्बन्धलाई थप सुदृढ बनाउन क्रियाशील हुनुहुन्छ। आज हामीसँग स्टुडियोमा उपस्थित हुनुहुन्छ हाम्रा विशेष अतिथि, नेपालका लागि पाकिस्तानका राजदूत महामहिम अबरार एच हासमी, बहुआयामिक र बौद्धिक व्यक्तित्वका धनी महामहिम अबरार एच हासमीलाई आजको हाम्रो कार्यक्रममा स्वागत गरौँ।
Your Excellency, welcome to the FAB Show.
Thank you for having me, Samir and Lex. Thanks.
And as I was mentioning, I'm we're very privileged to have your time on this Saturday, which is a weekend. So I'd like to start off with asking, on a typical Saturday, how do you make time for yourself?
Thanks a lot. On a Saturday, as it's a holiday, as you know, normally we venture into maybe one day of golf or cricket or a lazy day, as usually. But I'm syncing my routine with mostly with the Nepalese, and I try to get up early.
I just want to ask you, Ambassador, like I have to confess I've never been to Pakistan. It's one country I'd love to go, but it hasn't, the opportunity hasn't arisen or arose yet. But when you look at Nepal and the Nepali people, do you see any similarities in the way Pakistani people do their normal things and Nepali people do their normal things? Are there any differences, major differences, or do you think they're very similar?
I think we are similar in a sense that our relationship and our regional similarities, especially that in the north of Pakistan, where I belong to as well, we have almost similar habits. However, of course, with the differences as over time, we have all our own political systems, our own, customs, religious activities. However, having said, I have found a lot of similarities between both our countries, and especially people. For example, I'll give you a small little, like our people have over time the sages have traversed these slopes of Himalayas, and they've shaped this very peculiar cultural affinity. And that's, I think, one of the biggest takeaway between our two countries. For example, Guru Sambhava was born in Peshawar, and he traversed here and has impacted in a way that many followers are here in Nepal, in Bhutan, and Tibet. So those things are a lot of commonalities in cultural moorings. So our relationships, though it's new as interstate relations, however, they are very long embedded over goodwill reservoir, which is a long one between the people, I would say.
Very good. As you mentioned, the Himalayas, our countries and this region is connected by the great Himalayas. K2 lies in Pakistan. It's a place where a lot of people go for adventure and thrill as well. Unfortunately, the climate crisis and the impact of it is disadvantageously affecting countries like Nepal and Pakistan when these countries have not emitted as much to the global emissions. How can these two countries unite on shared voices to make sure that our voices are heard on global platforms?
This is one of the biggest concerns, the ecological fragility of the Himalayas and beyond. As you know, that Pakistan hosts Karakoram and Hindu Kush as well. So all these three mountain ranges, in fact, merge at one point in Pakistan. So we are not just ecologically fragile, but also we have this beauty which we need to preserve. So the conservation of tourism should be such that we make it high value and still we open up to the world so that they can see this amazing part where we have 14 peaks above 8,000 meters and we uniquely, Pakistan and Nepal, host them. Of course, 8 of them are in Nepal and 5 are in Pakistan. So we share this heritage of this area, this region. However, I think climate resilience is an area where I have worked with the partners here in Nepal, including the multilateral and intergovernmental organizations. There's a lot of scope. However, there's a lot of hope. There's a challenge and there's a hope also. The hope is that we are moving in a direction. For example, if I look at Nepal's conservation of forests, in fact, your forest cover has increased over time. And that's a good take. And likewise, there's a realization across the board that, for example, gloves, which have happened, there's a risk, there's a hydel power which we can produce a lot, both our countries can produce, without impacting too much of the fragile ecology. However, this climate change is a reality. It's based on science. However, we also need to have scientific solutions. So without regional cooperation, without coordinating across in the region, I think we will be disadvantaged. And there's a need to step up this realization and this cooperation. I think we are doing a lot, but still there's a lot to do in a determined and a sustained way.
Are there ways to overcome some of the barriers that we might be facing in this? Because as you know, Pakistan gains to lose, Nepal gains to lose, and other countries in the region also gain to lose because of what's happening right now. Pakistan, having all those mountains similar to Nepal, is also in a very precarious situation, and the inhabitants in that area. Are there, I mean, those barriers are there, but how do you see this problem being solved? Do you have any suggestions, few long-term or few short-term suggestions from your end, being someone who has worked in this area?
Okay, there's a whole, I would say, set of actions which we need to take. Of course, there is embedded in United Nations, those documentation or seminars which have come out in the COPs, as you would say. The 4 or 5 actions immediately and in long term. Immediately is the mapping what is happening in our region. But scientifically, if we know, are the glaciers receding? Or if they are receding, which are those glaciers which would have problems? So there is then also the second one is we need to prepare in a way that our communities which are in the mountains, not only they're safeguarded, but their livelihood is also protected. That is second, which we need to do. And the third one is around this resilience, we need to develop an economic system, which is slightly different. For example, we need to change in certain places how we build our homes, our roads, infrastructure. Maybe, and the fourth one is we have that preparedness for disasters. For example, I'll give you a small little example. If we both in Nepal and Pakistan and other countries where people live in mountains, we are scattered. If something, God forbid, happens, our emergency services cannot reach them. So we need to have a system where we put them back in a hamlet and keep those small dots, which we both have in Nepal and Pakistan on the mountains. Dots, I mean, small few homes, and they are vulnerable, huge vulnerable. So that's the action we can also take immediately. Bring them to hamlets, bring them to places where we have access. And also then we can serve them better with the utilities, and we can protect our forests and the land which is very vulnerable due to landslides. If we build a road, you must have seen those scars on the mountains. They never go away.
No. We face that every monsoon.
Yeah.
Focusing on tourism, we both, I think, we know, like, from many friends that have visited Pakistan, they often say it's one of the most beautiful places in the world, hugely underrepresented or misconstrued. I guess there's a lot of, sometimes the way that we hear of Pakistan is through other lens, and that has challenges as well. But how can we as two nations improve these ties so more Nepalis can visit the beauty of Pakistan and vice versa? Because from my understanding, Pakistan International Airlines was flying to Nepal in 2 different phases in our history, dating from 1962 to now. But is there any possibility of this reconnection? I say this in hope after reading the news of Pakistan and Bangladesh's reconnection.
Thank you. I think this is the point which you have hit, is the basic one, the connectivity. Due to lack of connectivity or direct connectivity, I would say, absence of direct connectivity is a big challenge, because circuitous visits, the minimum travel time between Pakistan and Nepal is now almost 16, 18 hours, whereas our direct flight isn't more than 2 hours, to be honest.
This is ridiculous, yeah.
And Pakistan International Airline has operated, as you rightly said, through 2015, from early 70s to 15. That discontinued primarily because of the entry of budget airlines. That is what they have been telling us. But we could still revive it. And we still have good number of tourists. Not too much, but direct tourism which comes out of Pakistan is around 6,000 people last year visited Nepal, which is not a bad number. And that will increase, certainly. There's the similarities, there's warmth between the people, and also people do come here with the ease as the visa for both the countries is almost on arrival. So that's a big plus. Now, an institutional mechanism, we do have a tourism agreement which we signed in 2009. And there's a working group, joint working group on tourism, where we coordinate between the two states, between the institutions. There's a lot we can do. However, I admit this is a potential unrealized, and the biggest challenge or biggest hurdle is missing direct air link. And once that restores, I hope that the rest of the things will slowly come in place.
And Your Excellency, we will take a short break because that's something we have to do. But we will come back to you with many other questions of mutual interest. अहिले एउटा छोटो ब्रेक लिउँ. हाम्रो एम्बेसडर पाकिस्तानी एम्बेसडर हाम्रो कुराकानी रहिरहन्छ. अहिले छोटो ब्रेकपछि हामी फेरि फिर्ता आउँछौँ. हेर्दै गर्नु होला द फ्याब शो.
The Fab Show, brought to you by Study Abroad Partner, Alpha Beta. Hospitality Partner, Bazeko Sekua. Furniture Partner, Rhino Land.
फेरि पनि स्वागत छ तपाईहरुले हामीलाई हेर्दै हुनुहुन्छ द फ्याब शो. अन्त किन हेर्ने, हाम्रो कुराकानी राम्रोसित गइरहेको छ with his excellency the current Pakistan ambassador to Nepal. हामीले अब टुरिज्मको कुरादेखि क्लाइमेट सम्बन्धी पनि छोइसक्यौं हैन. So टुरिज्मको कुरा गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ I want to kind of extend that conversation further. I believe you're a keen trekking enthusiast as well. So I just wanted to say, what are some of the spots or vistas in Nepal that have impressed you?
Thank you. I have not been so much up in the Himalayas. I would have loved to. However, whatever I have seen and I have tracked, this is such a beautiful. This is the harmony. The harmony with the nature is something fascinating in Nepal, and of course, I'll be going tomorrow to Rara Lake. That's another one which is on my.
It is beautiful. I've been there.
I've never been there, so I'm a bit jealous already. Yeah.
So we tracked around the valley and outside, and I've also tracked in Ilam. That's not few people would go there, I would say, but it's interesting. One can also make it in a way that it becomes very interesting. For example, if someone wants to see the tea gardens or estates, that's one way of doing it. So if it can be tailored for different enthusiasts, that's Nepal is doing fairly well. And for example, the national parks down there in Chitwan, I've been there, I think 3-4 times. So this is amazing. So it's conservation at the same time. It is sustainable, self-sustainable in a way that whatever the earnings are coming, it is sustaining those maintenance of the natural parks and also conservation efforts. So I think this is a very good model which can be emulated elsewhere in such places where you have a high value and you can keep the traffic also regulated so that the nature stays as it is, or if not as it is well conserved. So I think that's a very good model. And the community foresting and all that is complementing those efforts because there is an ownership in the communities. And those are very good things which Nepal has over time practiced and they're proven to be very, very sustainable models.
Your Excellency, I want to revert briefly to the question that Lex started earlier. Like, as I said, I've not been to Pakistan. What are some of the attractions that Pakistan offers to, let's say, tourists from Nepal or elsewhere, whoever is watching? What are some of the things that we can expect to see in Pakistan? I know there's a lot, but in a brief summary, can you tell us something about what we can see there?
Pakistan is endowed with the geography and also those landscapes from the Arabian Sea in the south, which is almost 1,000 plus kilometer.
Right.
The beaches and beautiful coastal areas to the plateaus and the deserts and then we have this is very big fertile land in Punjab, which is fed with one of the most elaborate irrigation system. And then you travel north and you come to plateau, which is capital Islamabad is also situated. And then the weather also changes. And then you come into lower Himalayas, which is very green. And then you further travel north and east and west. It has some similarities. And you go into Balochistan, it is a rugged land, but a lot of natural beauty. And as you come north, it is more like Nepal. However, we have a slightly different texture in the mountains. If you stand at one of the points, I don't know why they call it Alexander Point. Maybe Alexander landed through. There's a point where you stand and you actually, you can see that the Himalayas are coming, which are green mountains from the southeast.
Okay.
Of course, it's an extension from here, from this part of the world, and it goes into Pakistan. And the highest peak is Nanga Parbat,
All right.
which is one of the 14 8,000ers.
Right.
And then you see the Hindu Kush, which is a red mountain coming, of course, from Iran, Afghanistan, to that part. And then we have Karakoram, which is coming from north and northeast, coming out of the Chinese autonomous region and down to this place. And you can actually see at that point that Pakistan has these three mountains and valleys in between. So there's a lot of things to explore in Pakistan, and we are all foodies. We love food.
Of course.
And we have our own production of a lot of agricultural produce and all those things. And then culture itself, which Nepalese are very closely associated with, and they love that spiritedness. If you go, for example, in Lahore, you will see that there's a lot of culture and food, a lot of festivities going on. So there's a lot to offer in Pakistan. If you are an enthusiast to go to, for example, to the mountains, you have those. If you want to go to desert safaris, you have those. You want to go to beaches, we have those. And if you love food, we have a lot.
I just have a quick follow-up question. Let's have a follow-up question. Like we mentioned earlier, the connectivity, right? I know because you mentioned the budget airlines, because of that also now Pakistan Airlines is not flying here right now, which is unfortunate for both countries, I think, given the opportunities. What about the Nepali airlines also? Because we have some airlines now, private airlines also, they have the capacity to fly over there. Has there been any initiative taken from either countries regarding that also?
That's a very good question. We did. We did try to explore and permitted the private airlines. I think it has happened a year or year and a half ago that both sides can now also operate the private airlines. The air services agreement had put PIA and Royal Nepal Airline, then Royal Nepal Airline, as two operators from both sides. They had a lot of seats and destination, as you know, they have coded in the agreement. But now we permitted the private airlines, and private airlines do also operate their charter flights. And that's something we can immediately do. We don't need to wait for agreements. For example, if there are 400 or 500 people or even 200 people or even 70 people, even 60, we have all kind of aircrafts, they can charter it and take it to Pakistan, or from Pakistan they can charter it here. We did that, but during COVID. We had those flights operated as chartered flights. So for chartered flights, we can immediately do so. In private airlines or any airlines for that matter, in personal one, I would say. We have a policy now in Pakistan that even personal aircrafts can land at many places. So not just big airports, we have smaller airports when smaller aircrafts can land for touristic purposes and in group tourism also. So I think there is a lot which is already in the pipeline. If we look at it, we will be able to do it very shortly. Something that it will kick off an effect that people will start following it. Because nowadays, as we know, it's social media's era. So we need to do something of the sort. And we hope that someone travels from Nepal or travels from Pakistan. There's a lot, I think, if you go on social media, people have put blogs and everything. So that is also an area where we can generate interest. And then we can take smaller to bigger groups.
Fantastic.
That's amazing. Yes, we are seeing a lot of beautiful content coming out from Pakistan as well. And, people want to experience more unique cultures and adventures and also go against the grain of what global media, or that is often things that we see on mainstream media as well. Talking about, we've talked about the different things on offer in Pakistan, but I am aware that education is also an avenue. A lot of Nepalis historically have, pursued their higher education in Pakistan. I would just like to ask for an update. Where is Nepal and Pakistan's relations right now in terms of education and back and forth? Yes, because in recent times, I am not hearing too many people going to Pakistan.
Lex, this is an area which is a promising one in a sense that we have got we're proud of the contributions made by 5,000 plus alumni of Pakistani institutions in Nepal. And mostly you would see them, they're in medicine, and they're engineers, they're in academia, they're in information technology, in media also, few of them. There are two streams which have happened over time. The one stream is the continuous scholarship, whether it was Pakistan Technical Assistance Program or it was the Colombo Assistance Program. PTAP continues, and we have in fact increased the number from 25 to 50 gradually, annually, the fully paid scholarships, and we're sending one batch very shortly. What happens is sometimes we have the areas which we offer, for example, engineering, for example, BDS, we have medicines. The majority opt for medicines.
Yes.
So we need to synchronize it in a way that there's a joint economic commission which sits between two finance ministers. That hasn't happened for some time. If it happens, we will further fine-tune that one. And the second stream, this is the scholarship stream, the second, there's short courses also, which we offer to bureaucrats, which we offer to military personnel and all, even in climate change. I started last year. So now we have another stream, which is the self-finance people. They go, for example, there are two universities who had their alumni gatherings here in Nepal. And for example, LUMS, it's a very high-end university, and it has graduates here. And we also have graduates from the art colleges who go in their own, I would say, on their own self-finance ways, and they find Pakistan is a welcoming place. And many of them, they have studied there. And they're contributing here and abroad. And I would say that's one area where Pakistan's education is an edge which it gives to Nepalese, because culturally we are very close, and people actually do not stay longer. They come back and contribute. That's a big advantage, as opposed to countries where they go and they stay and actually they contribute to those respective economies, which is not bad, but then Nepal does not benefit too much. But in case of Pakistan, almost 95% they return. And they contribute to Nepalese system, Nepalese technical prowess in medicine, in education, even pilots, agriculturalists, environmentalists, science, and areas, for example, now hydel power. We recently opened a small little laboratory at KU, Kathmandu University, which is a teaching aid for the students of in hydel power, or hydel engineers, so to say.
Just in the same, staying in the same section, what about the reverse? Are there attractions for Pakistani students to come to Nepal? And has that been observed, or have you had the chance to look at that? You would love to have Pakistani
Yes,
students come also.
it's a very good question again. We do have.
Oh, you do?
We do have. Okay. We have reverse especially in military training. We do have at few universities, including at KU, and we'll also have a few students at Saja, South Asian Institution.
Oh, yes.
And that's a promising area, new areas where, for example, we will have students who are learning the regional in a regional studies way. They come from other universities. So we are encouraging between the universities, between the colleges, if they have their joint even degrees and they have some kind of joint studies programs, exchange programs. We had a cultural agreement, and under a cultural agreement, in fact, we used to have an Urdu chair here also between 2094 till almost 9 or 13. So we are trying to revive that. It would be a good addition that those who want to study, let's say, language as an additional language, which is Urdu, and it is widely understood here in Nepal. And we recently had Mushaira, as you know, the poetry.
Yes.
And I found it's so fascinating and interesting. There's so many Nepalese. They do so good. And that's a language, that's a regional understanding. And likewise, I would say, as you rightly said, we also need to study Nepalese and Nepalese language, Nepalese culture, so the translations can take place. And it would be a long standing contribution. It will contribute to mutual understanding, which already exists very well, but it would keep it on in a way that the changes which is happening in both the countries, the new learnings we have, and new trends we follow, that we'll continue to absorb.
Yeah. I mean, this conversation is going to be really good. I mean, we would like to continue with this, but right now, I think it's time for a short break. हामी अहिले फेरि एउटा ब्रेकमा जान्छौँ. ब्रेकपछि हाम्रो एम्बेसडर्स हाम्रो अतिथि छ. फेरि अर्को कुरा हामी अरू केही कुरा गर्ने छ. अन्तिम ब्रेक हुन्छ. ब्रेकमा जाउँ. त्यसपछि फेरि हामीलाई हेर्न नबिर्सोला द फ्याब शो.
The FAB Show, brought to you by Study Abroad Partner, Alpha Beta. Hospitality Partner, Bazeko Sekua. Furniture Partner, Rhino Land.
Welcome to the FAB Show. अन्त किन हेर्ने हाम्रो कुराकानी यस्तो राम्रोसित गइरहेको छ हैन. I'm worried about the time because we have limited time, but I have so many questions, but that's why I'm going to dive into the questions. So right now there's so much global challenges which requires regions to set aside their differences and come together, whether that be climate, whether that be fuel, diplomacy, strengthening things as well. So I just wanted to ask, working in diplomacy requires thinking differently, requires speaking differently as well, really understanding the crux of the host nation where you are. How important do you think this role or this career is for the time right now in 2026 and beyond? This question especially for anybody who is interested to become an ambassador as well.
Or into diplomacy, or in diplomacy.
Lex, the world does not invest too much in diplomacy. We are only globally, one of my professors had put this number. It says there are only 100,000 plus diplomats active in the world.
Wow.
Whereas the challenges are such that we need to invest more in diplomacy. We need to invest not only in diplomacy, in understanding. And diplomacy is the execution, but the understanding is the backdrop where, as you rightly pointed out, if you need to understand how a society operates, works, it has its own political system, internal dynamics, culture, and respecting that, building on the convergences. Normally, we diplomats do not look at differences. This is very interesting. We look at the convergences. And that makes us very positive whenever you meet a diplomat, he or she will give you a very positive outlook. No doubt, we are in an era where there are a lot of challenges, from the conflicts, active conflicts, to the lurking challenges of climate change, and in between. I would say that for investment, in long-term investment in peace, we all together will gain. And that's where I think the understanding will also hone. We can talk to each other. We can learn each other's, I would say, priorities, challenges, how we look at a problem. This all is very fascinating for someone who wants to enter into diplomacy. And people, especially, and I must say here, in Nepal, wherever I went, political leaders, journalists, common man, academia, or officials, they were so full of warmth and welcoming. So once you see the things from that perspective, you will see a lot of positivity. And that's a basic human instinct, that we need to live peacefully. And we need to have our all capabilities honed, skilled, developed, and excellence achieved.
In this regard, I just want to quickly ask you something. Like, right now we are having a bit of a crisis in the West Asian sector, the conflict between Iran, USA, in that whole area. Now we are hearing increasingly about the role of Pakistan as a potential mediator or negotiator. How true is that, or how have you looked at it as a diplomat in these very challenging times?
Thank you, Samir. This is something which Pakistan has tried, not just now in this crisis, but has been, as you see, we have kept very good relations across with our friends and brothers in the Middle East, whether it was Saudi or Iranian differences, or at one time differences between Qatar, Saudi, and Turkey, or bigger powers between US and China. As you know, Pakistan played a role in 1971. Henry Kissinger flew through Islamabad to Beijing. We have always been believing in peace, diplomacy, dialogue, and understanding. And that's what we are right now doing. We are putting all our efforts in peace. And we pray and hope that we succeed in it. And it is a win-win for everyone.
Yes, absolutely. We need that. Absolutely need that. And thank you to the country for at least initiating that conversation.
Thanks. You're most welcome.
And there's a lot of uncertainty as well. So we look forward to, as you said, hope and working towards peace as well. I believe it's been, I think, just before we close off the show, I believe it has been around 3 years since you're posting in Nepal. I wanted to say, what are some of the key achievements or things that you reflect back on when you look back in your time in Nepal?
That's a good menu to close. One, I've tried my level best and I've maintained good lace with every starter of the society. And I think the biggest takeaway which I could think that I have achieved one is that I was able to get to the people. In public diplomacy, I was able to reach to many groups which I would have not otherwise gone to, whether they were youth, women, groups, all regions and civic bodies, or even hospitals and schools. So we were able to go even to parks and environmental services, little contribution here and there, maybe developing an irrigation system where it was needed. So I think that's a big achievement, that we were able to get to the people. And of course, maintaining excellent relations, frictionless relations with Nepal. And that's a cutout for a diplomat. And at the end, I must say that both countries, with their youthful population, have new horizons and new heights to discover and to summit them together. And I think the future is as high as Everest and K2.
Fantastic.
Wow, beautifully said.
Beautiful put, and Everest and K2 are friends.
Thank you.
In this notes, thank you so much, Your Excellency, for coming to the show and like Lex said, giving us your very precious time on a weekend morning, Saturday morning. That's why we have been going live right now. But we will be seen in other platforms in the evening and the afternoon also. And thank you so much for coming to the FAB Show.
Gratitude that you have invited me, you gave me your time, and that to the FAB program and all those behind it. I'm thankful to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, thank you so much. Well, on that note, this is it for today. तपाईहरुले आशा छ इन्जोय गर्नु भयो होला द फ्याब शो हिमालय टेलिभिजनमा हामीलाई राख्नु भएको छ र टिकटक लाइभमा पनि अब हामी बिदा माग्छौं नमस्ते and see you tomorrow.
Thank you.
The FAB Show, brought to you by Study Abroad Partner, Alpha Beta. Hospitality Partner, Bazeko Sekua. Furniture Partner, Rhino Land.